What's up? We're back
How we
to
doing?
Buzzed Box. I'm Bert,
I'm Clay.
and we're here to tell you about the latter part of the round two. Yeah, this episode's going to come out a little later because we just were kind of waiting for round two to wrap up, and it ended on Monday, so we're recording on Tuesday, so this will come out Tuesday evening. So just 12 hours late. So if you guys have any complaints, you can email Clay at. No, I'm just kidding.
And then you give out my work email like a jerk.
Yeah, give out your work email, so you get, 2 emails maybe? Some of the people listening are people we work with.
Exactly,
so.
yeah. They already have it.
But before we get into the end of round 2, Clay, what are we drinking?
We are drinking Sierra Nevada's
Oh, yeah.
Big Little Thing IPA.
Nice.
It's an Imperial IPA.
Oh, man. I'm not looking forward to this. My dad...
Family owned and operated and argued over. Quote.
That's funny. My dad loved Sierra Nevada. He drank it all the time.
Oh, I love Sierra Nevada.
And that makes me really worried because he loved IPAs like you do.
Well,
so
I originally bought this for me.
I saw that.
Saw
it was
missing one?
opening.
Yeah.
Missing one.
Yeah, and then just like, let's do the beers. This is actually
that's
bad.
not that bad, actually.
No. For an Imperial IPA, it's not bad.
I could drink that.
Yeah. It's 9%.
And it's 9%.
It's 9%.
I saw it. Whenever it says Imperial, folks, that means it's very high in alcohol. Imperial IPA, Imperial Stout.
Again, I got this for me, and
Well, it's so sweet of you to share.
yeah, I didn't need to buy more alcohol.
Whatever, I picked up beer for you the other night.
I know, it was great.
All right,
that was
well,
Alvarium's Glued.
yeah, it was really good.
Oh, so
Well, I didn't have glued. I got their what's it called? It's called Crunchyroll.
Yeah,
It's
I
like
see it on your.
Oh yeah,
your
there's an
thing.
empty one over there.
Alvarium's,
It's pretty good.
Alvarium's a very small brewery, but
Yeah,
they're yummy. Whatever.
very good, very good. Well, anyway, let's get into the end of round 2, and this first series ended very quickly for round 2, and that was Tampa Bay sweeping Florida.
Mm-hmm.
We mentioned it last week that
it was probably going to happen.
That was probably going to happen, and if not a sweep, then I can't imagine it was going to go any more than 5 games because Florida was just not in this series at all.
No, they haven't been in the playoffs at all.
It looks
honestly.
like because they maybe should have lost against Washington too, if not for like goaltending issues and stuff.
And defense. Yeah.
But they lost 2-0 to Tampa Bay in Game 4 for the sweep, and that's Vasilevsky's not his streak of elimination games with shutouts, but because they did not shut out Toronto
Right.
in the elimination game last series, but he has a crazy track record of having shutouts in elimination games.
Ever since the year after they got swept by...
He's shut out like 7 of 8 teams or something like that they've knocked out.
It's been crazy.
It's insane.
So, yeah.
He did make 49 saves in this game too, so it's not like he only faced 20 shots.
No,
he played very well this entire series.
Mm-hmm.
Florida played really bad too.
Florida played bad. They still put up 49 shots.
Yeah,
So,
they had a lot of shots. But now I didn't watch 100% of this game, so some of those shots might have been crappy shots.
Yeah, they were.
But shots are shots.
He made some fantastic saves, but a lot of those shots were low danger.
Yeah,
I will say. Yeah. Sometimes going for the rebound.
Right. Yeah.
Try to rebound off the goalie for a shot.
Yeah, so, that's understandable. That works a lot of the time, but if you're set up properly.
Yeah.
But and strangely enough, this was the first series sweep in Tampa Bay's favor under John Cooper. That surprises me, but
thinking back, that makes sense.
Yeah, they got swept by Columbus, but in the sweep in Tampa Bay's favor, this is the first under John Cooper. So look at that. Now that I think about it, somebody comparable to John Cooper is probably Mike Sullivan of the Penguins.
Yeah.
I don't think the Penguins have had a sweep under Sullivan either.
I don't think they have.
I could be wrong.
No,
but I don't think they have.
No, they have.
They've won in like 5 games. I don't think they've had a sweep though. So it's just interesting.
Yeah.
I just thought that was interesting.
Well, they're a good team.
Tampa Bay is a well put together team.
We'll talk about their matchup going into the next round.
Yeah, we'll talk about those matchups at the end. But no knocking Tampa Bay. They didn't look like world beaters like they had the last couple of years this year. But
and then they turned it Against Florida, they did.
They got a pretty emotional series win against Toronto, and then they just looked dominant against Florida. And they moved to the Eastern Conference Finals for the third straight year, looking to go to the Stanley Cup Final for the third straight year and win it.
Yep. Florida?
So what next for Florida? I don't know. They seem like a really well-constructed team.
They did.
They have offense, they have defense, they have goaltending, but
they finally got that first round win.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Then it kind of seemed like they were good with that.
Right.
We got our first series win
100%.
since 1997, and that's good enough for us.
But the same thing. That's how it starts. You get that first.
That's true. That's
first series win. They kind of
you don't immediately run to the Stanley Cup final. Usually don't immediately run to the Stanley Cup final.
So they can build off that with some of their younger guys. Hopefully their older guys learn not to disappear in the second round.
Yeah, looking at you, Barkov and Huberdeau.
They got
and Giroux.
Yeah,
you were there.
Giroux actually did put up points in every single game.
Did he?
That they didn't get shut out.
I retract that statement then, Giroux.
Yeah, Giroux did.
He's been in the playoffs a lot.
He was invisible and then put up a point. Type of deal.
Yeah. Tampa Bay just had control of this entire series. What are you going to do? Yeah, Bobrovsky didn't play super well.
But I also wouldn't say he played bad.
I don't think he played horrible.
That first goal in the fourth game he went back because it bounced straight up and behind him. And
that's
he
right.
He kind of skated it in,
but
he had no idea where that was.
You can't really say that's on him. That was kind of just a freak bounce. But,
exactly.
You
kind of want your offense to score.
Yeah.
To make up for that.
It would be nice.
Yeah.
Obviously, we'll get into everybody's postseason look aheads once the Stanley Cup Final is over.
Shut out at home. Shameful.
Shameful. So
it's not the only one this week.
So that's good luck in the off season, Florida.
Mm-hmm.
You did win a series, so have that under your belt. That monkey's off your back, but you got to come back stronger next year.
Yep.
Let's move on to the Battle of Alberta, which also went pretty quickly.
It did go pretty quickly.
Edmonton took the series in 5 games.
So
I thought after
the difference between these two rivalry games
mm-hmm.
is there was a lot more fireworks in Alberta than Florida.
Oh yeah, there was.
But
there were fireworks, but then Edmonton just outscored them the entire time.
Edmonton did find another gear.
Oh yeah,
that Calgary just could not match.
That's true. I would say objectively, McDavid and Draisaitl are better than probably all of the players on Calgary.
Yes.
So that doesn't mean that they're just going to win every series, but
and then Mike Smith played the good.
Mike Smith did play very well in the series after not playing real well, not playing particularly well against LA. Mike Smith did play old Mike Smith, younger Mike Smith. But Mike Smith has always kind of been Jekyll and Hyde. He'll play really well for a while, and he'll just be terrible for a while.
Exactly. So it depends on what you get.
Yeah.
And they got the good stuff.
Yeah, they did. So Edmonton took Game 4, 5-3. Mike Smith made 29 of 32 saves. Kane and Ryan Nugent-Hopkins each had 2 goals in this game, while Draisaitl had 3 assists. That's about it for that game.
Yep.
And in Game 5, Edmonton won in overtime, 5-4.
Yeah.
Draisaitl had 4 assists in this game, while Zach Hyman had a goal and 2 assists, and McDavid scored that game-winning overtime goal. Now, and that was the knockout game, obviously. Yep. Draisaitl had 3 points in 5 straight playoff games, which is an NHL record, shockingly enough. I can't believe that McDavid or Lemieux or somebody of that ilk hadn't done that before, but
here we are.
The playoffs are a different beast.
Yep.
Even back then.
There's more teams now than there were back then.
That's true as well. Yeah, that's true as well. Draisaitl and McDavid each have 7 goals and 19 assists in the playoffs so far.
It's absurd.
That they lead, obviously, other than each other, they lead everyone else in points.
Yep.
Draisaitl had 2 goals and 15 assists against Calgary.
Mm-hmm.
So, Calgary, maybe you contained McDavid okay, but didn't contain Draisaitl at all.
Or
whoever
Kane,
was playing on the lines with him. Yeah, Kane had a very good series, too.
Kane's playing so well, you forget about the sexual assault charges earlier this year.
guys in sports a lot. They're like, oh, he played really well. I guess we could forgive him for beating up that girl. Almost everyone in the NFL.
Or your child, Adrian Peterson.
Or your child, Adrian Peterson. Anyway, so...
Allegedly.
So, Edmonton's looking good going to the Western Conference Finals.
They are looking
we had tons of questions about Edmonton, but right now, they're shutting us up, and they're answering those questions. McDavid and Draisaitl are playing out of their mind. Evander Kane is playing well. Nugent Hopkins is playing well. Mike Smith is playing well. Their defense is fine.
It played well.
It played well enough.
Yes.
They still lit up
that
2 or more goals in every game this series. But
this is kind of
they lit up 9 in the first game.
This is kind of a gentleman's sweep. You win the opponent.
That's true. You let them take game 1 and then you took the other 4.
Yeah, exactly.
It's so nice of Edmonton to do that to Calgary. I will say Markstrom played pretty bad in this series.
He played like a normal goalkeeper instead of
not
a
star goalie.
Yeah,
he played like a middle of the road goalie.
You kind of have to look at
he got chased in a couple of games.
Oh, he did. Yeah. But you also kind of have to look at use Vladar a little bit more. He might have gotten tired.
That's true.
We can talk about for another series.
Yeah. You might need to spell Markstrom a little bit more. Is Vladar a good backup? He seems fine.
He had some very good games during the regular season. Now, we don't know about the playoffs. He played all right during the times when Markstrom got chased. But now Calgary has to worry about signing Tkachuk and Gaudreau.
I would probably prioritize Tkachuk over Gaudreau just because of age.
Well, also Gaudreau disappeared.
That's true.
In the playoffs.
He had a few good games.
A few,
but he wasn't consistent.
I think.
Although Tkachuk didn't do a ton either.
Well,
I just strictly from an age perspective, I would go Tkachuk.
Yeah.
And no offense to Gaudreau, he's a good player too. Mm-hmm. But I would just if I was managing a team and it was like between 2 players, and they were like about the same skill wise, I'd probably tend towards the younger guy.
Fun with the injury reports.
Yeah.
Zadorov had a.
Oh yeah, I didn't really look at the injury reports after stuff ended.
Shoot, did he have ribs? I think he had rib problems. And
that's horrible.
Tanev was playing with a separated shoulder.
That's.
And then Tkachuk was playing with, I think, a broken hand from that fight in the end of the Dallas game. So
it's always entertaining at the end of a playoff series. The losing team is like, oh yeah, that guy his head was just not actually there.
Oh, it's like Tom Wilson. He had ACL surgery after that. The reason he missed the entire playoffs against the Panthers, he partially tore his ACL at some point.
Yeah.
And then it's one of those things you hockey players do have a super high pain tolerance, and they are
probably assisted to some extent, but
hockey players are super tough, but there's also a painkiller problem, and then we wonder why.
It doesnit doesn't get talked about that much.
No.
There's definitely a painkiller and cocaine problem
in
the NHL, but nobody ever talks about it because it would make the league look bad.
Right.
But there's steroids problems in the NFL, and painkiller problems, and probably also cocaine problems in the NFL too. But it makes money, so no one cares.
Yeah. Smoke every day.
It's just
do that.
Nice. Yeah, do that. That's
fine.
Instead
of opioids.
That's fine. Just legalize that, and just be to all players, just go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead and smoke weed. We don't care.
I mean, the NFL kind of did that this past 2 years.
So I think they stopped testing for marijuana because, was it half the states it's legal now or something like that? Our job pretty much told us don't worry about it either. So, not that we're athletes. You won't know by looking at us. We're very handsome and athletic. Anyway, moving on.
Only the first one.
Moving on to the other Western Conference series. Colorado beat St. Louis in 6 games.
Yep.
Did I call this one?
I think you called that. I think I called 7.
Because I thought that St. Louis was going to give Colorado more issues than obviously Nashville. Because St. Louis is a good team.
Yeah.
Very good team.
Well, after Binnington got hurt.
Yeah. That was...
St. Louis just focused on trying to hurt Colorado back.
I did call it.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just looking at
they focused on trying to hurt Colorado.
Yeah.
Colorado just kept playing hockey and just ran up.
So the Binnington injury was what, game 3?
Yeah.
Right. So game 4, Colorado took 6-3. Nazem Kadri had 3 goals and an assist.
Yeah.
Buchnevich had a goal and an assist for St. Louis. Perron had 2 goals, so he had a good game too. But
is this the game with Perron?
Yep.
All right. Yeah.
So David Perron
had a game.
He had a good game scoring wise, and also goon wise too. He is not somebody that you would probably think would be goon-ish, but he got caught on camera after Kadri scored the second goal of his hat trick.
The first goal was with the cross-check.
Oh, okay.
He cross-checked Kadri bad.
Yeah. But then Kadri scored again, and then Perron, after the goal was scored, tried to blow up Kadri while he was celebrating.
He tried to elbow him right in the face.
He tried to elbow him right in the face, but guess embarrassingly, he totally missed. And it would have been really horrible for the league if he had connected on that.
That's like a Dale Hunter.
Because what a disgusting thing to try to do.
Right.
I understand being frustrated, but like that's so unsportsmanlike. Kadri saw and dodged it, and then scored another goal on top of that.
That cross check he did was trying to injure Kadri. Like
they were trying to hurt Kadri. Yeah.
Off screen to cross check Kadri in the back.
Just to remind you guys,
and then he speared Taves.
Yeah, that's true. Just to remind you guys, Kadri was the one who was tangled up with the defenseman that went into Binnington.
Yep.
And Binnington got hurt. It was no one's fault, really. It was just a kind of a freak injury. So not Kadri's fault, not really the defenseman's fault either.
Right.
Or Binnington's.
No.
But he slid into the goalie and Binnington hurt his knee, I think.
It was a knee injury.
Which sucks. And Binnington's kind of a hothead. And he threw a water bottle at Kadri or something after the game during an interview.
But, also think about it. This is kind of on par with Craig Berge's teams.
That's true, but let me get to my point. So, Perron, I assume, was trying to get revenge, quote unquote, on Kadri, even though it really wasn't his fault that Binnington got hurt. But also, Kadri and his family started getting death threats online from, I assume, St. Louis fans, or just generally racist people.
Yep.
Or racist people that are St. Louis fans.
Yes.
No, I'm not saying that's all St. Louis fans, but the vocal minority of you that are really big old shitheads.
Sports fans.
Sports fans.
It's a problem.
Yeah, it's an issue. But so Kadri is, I believe, of Middle Eastern descent, or is from. No, he's Canadian, he is Middle Eastern descent and also Muslim.
Yep.
So
it was twofold.
His wife posted a bunch of messages they got online, really gross messages. But here's the thing: she also posted their names, which I appreciate.
What was a 14-year-old?
No, it's too bad.
Well, he got kicked off his soccer team for it.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
People need to know that, you have freedom of speech, not freedom of consequences for that speech.
Well, also, I saw one post that there was someone wondering how to get that taken down because his brother was on there.
Oh, yeah, I saw.
And then...
No, fuck your brother.
He's getting death threats, and it's just like, man...
Yeah, I saw it. He was drunk. Please take it down. No.
I get drunk a lot. I don't
send death threats to people. No. I just, watch a stupid movie or throw up. But yeah, so that's disgusting.
Yeah.
We at BuzzPucks do not condone any of that. And fuck you guys for being racist. I'm just going to take a hard stance on that. Go fuck yourself, all of those people. And I wish I had their names in front of me so we could say them.
The messages that were sent were on...
and I'm glad he got a hat trick against you guys, because fuck you.
Oh, yeah, it made everything I'm now a Kadri fan.
I hope they win the Stanley Cup. Even more for this.
Those messages were to their cat's Instagram page.
Or their...
No, it's their cat.
Was it their cat? I couldn't remember if it was a cat or dog.
It was a cat.
Their cat's Instagram page.
Yeah.
Fuck you guys. You guys are... Well, not all of them were racist, but a lot of them were racist. Yeah. Us here at BuzzPucks tell you to go fuck yourself.
If they weren't racist,
of shit.
They were Islamophobic.
There was one or two that were fuck you for Binnington.
Oh, that's fair.
But, at least half of them were either Islamophobic or just straight up racist. So,
yeah.
Anyway, moving on to Game 5. St. Louis did win this game in overtime. Robert Thomas scored 2 goals. Nick Leddy had 3 assists.
Taking time off from Xbox 20.
He has played really well.
Very well.
Yeah, he's a younger guy on St. Louis. He's played. He's really come alive in the playoffs. Him and Jordan Kyrou have been very good.
Very good.
Bozak had the overtime game-winning goal. Excuse me, I had to burp. On the other side, McKinnon had 3 goals and an assist, and that hat-trick goal was outstanding.
Oh,
did you see that goal?
Yes, I did.
When he scored that,
he's just like,
I thought the game was over because he scored it with like 3 minutes left to take the lead. Colorado was up 3-0 in this game, and then they blew that lead. Obviously, St. Louis tied the game, and then McKinnon scored this amazing goal, and I was like, "Oh, that's it."
He went across the ice.
I'll be honest. Yeah, he 200-foot effort and just like deked out everybody, deked out the goalie, scored.
That was it. Yeah.
And I was just like, "Oh well, that's a backbreaker right there." It was like 2.5, 3 minutes left. Yeah. And then St. Louis, so St. Louis tied the game 3-3 by I don't remember who it was, but somebody was just sitting on the far side of the net of Colorado's net, and somebody just cross crease passed right to him, and he dunked it in. And then guess what? They tied the game 4-4 the exact same way.
Figure some stuff out, like play a little defense.
Yeah, you guys lit up. I was watching this game. I was like, that was the exact same goal you just lit up.
Nope.
Really? I that just blew me away. They lit up the same goal within like a few minutes of each other.
Yeah, it's just like, all right, that worked. Let's do it again.
And then Bozak scored in overtime. It wasn't. No offense to Bozak. It was just kind of like a normal goal.
Oh yeah. It wasn't the same play.
No, it wasn't the same play. 3 times. Yeah. I was like, I can't believe you just let them tie the game twice with the same play. Moving on to Game 6, that was really it. There wasn't that much fireworks in Game 5.
No.
Moving on to Game 6, Colorado won 3-2 to knock out St. Louis.
Yep.
Clay just knocked over his mic.
I'm
just
fine.
like how St. Louis got knocked out. Clay punched his mic, basically.
Yep. I'm fine.
JT Compher. Is it JT Compher? Compher.
Yeah.
Had 2 goals in this game. Had the first 2 goals for Colorado in this game.
Yep.
Ville Husso had made 36 of 39 saves, but I will say the second Compher goal was really bad. He just like swung and missed with his glove, basically. I just, Husso's a young goalie, so stuff like that happens.
He's played very well during these playoffs when he's had to. For the most part.
But like
he wants that one back.
That was a really bad goal. Darren Helm scored the game-winning goal. Yes, Darren Helm still plays in the NHL. I couldn't believe it either, folks. He scored with 5.6 seconds left in the third period. What a brutal way to lose this game.
It got quiet because this was in St. Louis.
Brutality by Darren Helm on that goal. What's really interesting is this is Helm's second career series-clinching goal. The first one was in the 2009 conference final for Detroit in Game 5.
Wow.
That's how long he's been playing.
Yeah.
And I feel like I remember watching him play back then and being like, oh, he's like a veteran. Right. He's still playing. Is he like 50? I know he's not, but I'm just like, how is Darren Helm still playing in this league? He played with Lindstrom.
By doing stuff like that.
Yeah, and Zetterberg and all of those guys from the Detroit Dynasty era.
Right.
It's just so funny. I'm sorry, I forgot that he still played in the league, and then he scored this goal, and I was like, oh, shit. This was his first goal of the playoffs, obviously. So yeah, that knocked out St. Louis. As for St. Louis, I think they have a pretty well-constructed team.
I do too.
They need to figure out what they're doing with Tarasenko, because I believe he is a free agent.
Is he? I thought
this year. I think this was the last year of his contract, and he was like, maybe I want to be traded. But then St. Louis was playing well, and Tarasenko was playing well, and he was like, maybe I don't want to be traded now.
Right.
So they need to figure out what they're doing with him, because if he makes it to free agency, somebody's going to throw way too much money. Not too much money, but a lot of money at him.
Something that...
because he played like old Tarasenko this year. The last couple of years, he was not iffy great. Because he injured both shoulders, like one a year, basically, and had other injuries in there, too. But this year, he had 30-plus goals. He might have even been close to 40 goals.
Yeah,
he looked like his old self.
He played very well this year.
Again, we'll get into everybody's like free agency. We'll look at like how much cap space that they have and all of that after the Stanley Cup Finals are over. But that's their big one that I think might be moving to free agency.
Right.
I'm not sure that who else they have. You know, but we'll get into that later. But I think they're a good team. They have a good mix of veteran and young guys. You know, they have O'Reilly. Just saying, they bring Tarasenko back. They have Buchnevich, but then they have Cairo and Thomas, and they have a good defense. And I don't know.
They're
no shame in losing to Colorado. Colorado's a very good team.
Well, they were right in there for a while.
They were. They took Colorado almost to overtime of Game 6, and who knows what happens in overtime.
They were, second and third or third in the division. That was
They're a good team.
Strong top three.
You know, they have Binnington and Husso. Husso played very good this year. He overtook the starting job
for a little bit.
For a while there.
Yeah.
You know, Binnington had flashes of brilliance. He's a hot and cold kind of goalie. So I think they're well set for the future. It's just kind of what they're going to do with Tarasenko, and if they do let him go, what they're going to do with that money.
Right.
So moving on to the final series of the second round of the playoffs, the New York Rangers beat the Carolina Hurricanes in 7 games.
I gotta say,
we were doubting the Rangers coming into this series, but
we were doubting the Rangers coming into this playoffs, and they've really shut a lot of things up.
Here's the thing, though. I keep seeing people, not that it matters because they won. I'm not trying to make excuses, but they're like the worst metric team.
Yes, 100%.
In the playoffs. Even of like all 16 teams that made the playoffs, they are by far the worst metric team. They've been
so bad metrically the entire time. But
they've also been playing second and third string goalies the entire time as well.
So
except for one game against the Penguins.
We'll talk about that against...
Yeah. No excuses. The Rangers won.
Well...
No excuses, but...
Shesterkin shook off the nerves that he had during the Penguin series.
Yes, he did. Yeah. He played very well
in the regular season.
In this series especially.
And that is terrifying to Tampa.
Tampa has Vasilevsky, so they kind of have there might not be a lot of goals in this next series. But anyway, let's get through these games first, and then we can talk about that series. Game 4, Rangers won 4-1. Tying the series at 2.
At MSG.
At MSG. Kopp scored a goal and 2 assists. Fox and Vetrano each had a goal and an assist, and Shesterkin made 30 of 31 saves. In this game, I believe Aho got an assist on Carolina's 1 goal, and he has overtaken the lead for Carolina/Hartford players. He leads them all time with 44 points now, which is crazy because Hartford had Ron Francis for a while, who's like 5th all-time in points scored.
Yeah,
but he got traded to the Penguins at some point in the 90s.
Also, Hartford didn't go to the playoffs a lot.
That's also true, yeah. They had one of the greatest players, one of the best scorers of all time in Francis, but, he was mostly an assist guy, but you know what I mean.
Points getters.
But like in 91 or 92, Francis did get traded to the Penguins. He won a cup there, but Hartford wasn't very good for most of their life. It sucks because they have one of the best logos of all time, and I think most people agree with that. So it sucks that they don't exist anymore. But they weren't that great.
They weren't good, and Connecticut can't really support them.
Yeah, they had a hard time pulling fans because if you live in Connecticut, you're probably either a Boston fan or a New York fan, depending on which side of the state you're on.
And also, those are original 6 teams.
Yeah, so they were there first, so they have all of that claim.
And then the Islanders right on top of that were still before the Whalers.
And even Buffalo's kind of like...
Yeah, Buffalo's been around since 70s.
I think they existed before the Whalers, maybe. Or they came in at the same time as the Whalers.
The Whalers, I think, only lasted like 10 years. 20 years.
Maybe 20 years. I'm not 100% sure about that.
I think Buffalo's 2 years before the Whalers.
Could be. But, that's the main reason why the Whalers don't exist anymore, because they just weren't pulling fans. Because Hartford's a really tough spot to have there's a reason it doesn't have a pro team in any other sport. But anyway, moving on to Game 5. So congratulations, Aho, for being their all-time leading scorer in the playoffs. Moving on to Game 5. Carolina won 3-1. That's true. He is a Finnish beauty. Carolina won 3-1 to take a 3-2 series lead
in Raleigh.
There's a reason why we keep saying this. Antti Raanta only faced 17 shots in this game, and he saved 16 of them.
Carolina's defense was dominant
in this game.
And then I'm talking about this game.
Yeah. Svechnikov, Teravainen, and Trocheck each scored a goal for Carolina. Shesterkin made 31 of 34 saves, so he played pretty well too.
Yes, he did.
Fortunately, Martinook returned in this game after missing 8 playoff games in a row. He was injured at some point in the first series against Boston.
Also, some of those goals against Shesterkin were just dirty. He had no chance.
Yeah. I mean, goalies can be as good as you want, but you can be deked out too.
Exactly.
Yeah. You can be the best goalie of all. You can be Martin Brodeur. You can get deked out. It happens. So, moving on to Game 6. Rangers at MSG won 5-2 to tie the series at 3 and send it to Game 7.
It's always the home team has won every single game so far.
Cheadle had 2 goals. Shesterkin had made 37 of 39 saves and had 2 assists in this game, which is nuts. He's 1 assist away from tying the all-time record for goalies in the playoffs because he had 1 against the Penguins too.
Yeah. Now he's got to do 3 this series.
Yeah, get 2 more. You have the record.
Right. Well, get. He's gotten 1 in the first round.
Why hasn't he scored a goal yet?
2 in the second, and
trash.
now it's
trash goalie. He hasn't scored a goal yet. Trash.
That's really it. He tried in the regular season. He was an inch away from scoring.
Man. It's so funny. Marc-Andre Fleury has tried so many times to score a goal with the Penguins and Vegas as well. I don't remember seeing him try to do it with Chicago, but he tried
Minnesota.
So many times with the Penguins. Oh yeah, he was on Minnesota, right? And then I think Matt Murray almost scored a goal. He was within 2 inches of scoring a goal. I remember one of the Penguins beat writers tweeted out, they were like, "Oh, Marc-Andre Fleury would die if Murray scored a goal after how many times he tried."
Shesterkin was a post length away from the regular season. The regular season.
Yeah. Trash. I'm just kidding. He's a very good goalie. Carolina, your goalies are starting to falter in this game. Raanta did not play well.
Nope.
And then, I forget their backup's name.
I forget the third stringer's name.
Korchenkov or
that sounds
Korchenko or something like that.
I think
he's a very young goalie.
Well, he played against the Boston.
Yeah,
Bruins
he did.
When Raanta was hurt.
It's Korchenkov, I think, or Korchenko. One of those.
It's Chenkov.
Raanta got chased in the second period of this game. Did not play well. And Barclay Goodrow returned for the Rangers in this game as well. Big boon to them.
Yep.
Yeah. Moving on to Game 7, the home team finally lost, and in spectacularly bad fashion. I would like to mention because the Rangers won 6-2 in this game.
I didn't actually look up the final score of this game.
6-2.
I went to bed when it was 3-0.
And I'll be honest, those 2 goals that Carolina scored, garbage time. They did not matter. This game was never close. The Rangers were up 2-0 after the first period. They were up 4-0 after the second period, I believe. I think.
No, it was 3-0.
Was it 3-0? Whatever. Yeah. They were up 4-0 at a certain point in the third.
They looked like they were running away with it when it was 2-0.
I'll be honest, I was doing something else, and then I tuned in after the Rangers were already up 2-0, and I was watching the game, and I was like, oh, this game's over already.
Oh.
Carolina had given up. They straight up gave up.
I watched from the start to finish. From the start to the end of the second period, being like, nah, it's over.
Yeah. They just looked defeated. I tuned in with 5 minutes left in the first period, and I was like, oh, I think this game's already over.
Yeah, it was.
Because it was.
Yeah.
And then, the Rangers just kept scoring. Shesterkin made 37 of 39 saves in this game, playing fantastic in this series. Kreider had 2 goals, Mitic had 3 assists. I do want to point out that Trouba hurt another player in this series. Now, this one was a little bit cleaner of a hit than the ones against Crosby or Gensel earlier, and I think there was at least one other one in this series as well.
He's hurt 4 guys this playoffs.
Hey, NHL, you might want to pay attention. I'm just saying. Because the ones against Crosby and Gensel were pretty egregious elbows.
Or at the same time, the Rangers have to accept that they have their own version of Tom Wilson, and
he's just a defenseman.
Yeah, and you just have to accept the hate.
So
that comes
shut
with
up
it.
about Tom Wilson now, Rangers fans.
Mm-hmm.
I will go ahead and say that.
Mm-hmm.
I would say that to Penguins fans too if we had
Matt Cook still.
Yeah, we had Matt Cook. I will never defend Matt Cook. He scored some big goals for the Penguins. He's a dirty player. Anyway, so yeah, Trouba did hurt Seth Jarvis, but it was more on the clean side of it.
It was very much a solid open ice hit.
Yeah, he hit him with his shoulder this time, but
it's size versus a 20-year-old rookie who doesn't have the same muscle mass.
Yeah, exactly.
Jarvis did see it coming. It wasn't a blind side. He just couldn't brace himself in the way that a 20-year-old versus a 28-year-old can.
Right. Yeah. Antti Ranta got hurt. I thought it was in the third period. Clay, you said
in the second.
It was in the second period, so I was wrong there. It looked like a groin injury, maybe
it looked like
a knee injury. I couldn't really tell. It was definitely his leg.
It was the exact same way that Anderson got hurt. The exact same way.
Was it?
Freddie Anderson got hurt.
Oh.
He
Yeah, it was nothing dirty. He just lunged to make a save and, I don't know, landed awkwardly on his leg.
I think two skates clipped or something like that.
It looked bad.
Yeah.
He was in a lot of pain on the ice. He had to be helped off. And then Corey, we're just going to call him Corey, their backup goalie, because Freddie Anderson did not play in this playoffs at all.
No.
Came in, did not play much better than Ronto was playing. And
that's, I would say, more on...
He gave up a pretty bad goal, too.
He did. But
Corey did.
Also, Carolina's defense was not there this game.
Carolina gave up in this game. After the first period, they were not there.
0 for 2 on the penalty kill to start the game.
Oh, I have that written down. Do you know what their power play was for this entire series?
1 for 11.
2 for 18.
Oh, they got 2? Good for them.
Yeah, they got 2.
Good for them.
You know what the Rangers was?
It was like, I would say running at like 60%.
Not quite that much. They were 7 for 21.
7
so
for 21.
30 plus percent, which is a very good goal. Very good power play.
Oh, I'm sorry. Carolina had one of the best penalty kills coming into the playoffs.
Yeah, not against the Rangers.
It disappeared in the second half of the series.
Oops. Sorry.
It disappeared in the second half of the series. The power play, which is, again...
The power play and the penalty kill.
But the power play is that I think they were...
Their power play wasn't that great coming into it, but...
I think including the playoffs and coming into the playoffs, Carolina's power play was like 12 for 98.
Yeah, it wasn't that great.
That's bad.
It wasn't very good, no.
But...
Sorry, my dog is being ridiculous right now.
Glaring at us.
Oh, I'm also sorry if you hear the AC running in the background. It's very hot where we are right now.
The Rangers' power play is one of the reasons they got to the playoffs. So
I mean, how can you not have a good power play when you have Zibanejad, Panarin,
like they
all
did
of these guys
in the regular season? Yeah. So we'll see how that translates against
Tampa.
And
in the regular season, they were one of the worst metric teams too, but apparently that doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Because the Rangers just keep rolling.
Mm-hmm.
So they keep winning 7-game series. We'll see what they do against Tampa Bay.
Well, because the metrics were...
Sometimes metrics...
They were discounting them because of the strong power play and the strong goalie.
I will say, though, at several times against the Penguins, you would watch these games and be like,
crap. Yeah.
Why aren't the Penguins winning all of these games?
100%.
And then same thing against Carolina, except for this last game. You look at it and you're like, why isn't Carolina winning this game?
Mm-hmm.
And it's just you certainly can chalk it up to the power play in this one at least, and in the Penguins one as well.
Yeah.
The power play has been bailing them out, running at 30%. That's like, did they have a goal a game? Yeah.
Yeah, they had a goal a game.
At least in these last 4 games. I don't know. I can't remember about the first 3, but their power play has been scoring a goal a game in the last 4 games of this series, and that's really hard to stop.
Tampa takes a lot of penalties.
We're going to see.
Tampa takes a lot of penalties.
Tampa has a lot of good ones, too.
Yeah.
They have Corey Perry.
Well, exactly. So
where did my balance out?
Well,
anyway, But here's the thing. That's more of like against Trouba, basically. If Trouba does something, you best bet that everyone on Tampa Bay is gonna be a bloodbath. Yeah. You know? And then yeah.
Let's just talk about the next series.
Well, let's talk about the future of Carolina really quick. Get more reliable goaltending. What did I say at the beginning of the year? What did we agree on at the beginning of the year?
If they stay
Freddie
healthy.
Anderson and Raanta are super injury prone. Now, Raanta, for the most part, both of them for the most part, stayed fairly healthy for the most.
Freddie Anderson didn't get hurt until he got hurt.
Freddie Anderson got hurt in like the last week of the season or something. Did not play.
Against Colorado, didn't play.
Yeah, didn't play in the playoffs at all. Raanta played most of the games in the playoffs. Very inconsistent.
I think Raanta got tired at the end.
Probably.
I think he got tired. He's never been a starter.
Here's the thing. Raanta, I mean, teams have tried to make him a starter, and he's just never really taken to it. I remember when he was the backup to Lundqvist on the Rangers, and then they traded him for like 2 second-round picks or something, and I remember being like, that's too much.
Oh, Winnipeg gets a first-round pick because of the Copp trade.
Oh, yeah, they do.
Yep, because they made it to the finals.
Good point.
The Eastern Conference Finals.
But they signed both Raanta and Anderson to multi-year contracts. They're going to have to roll with it.
Trocheck is a free agent.
Yeah, they're going to lose Trocheck, probably.
Yeah.
Hey, Penguins, sign Trocheck. There's a few. Niederreiter is also a free agent.
Yeah.
And there's another. I mean, D'Angelo's a free agent, too.
Kotkaniemi is their second-line center now. Based on, like, free agents and stuff, he's their second-line center.
Played well.
Mm-mm.
And they signed him to, like, an 8-year contract or something.
Yeah.
They didn't sign him for that much. It's only, like, $4 or $5 million or something like that.
I think it was 4.5.
Yeah. Excuse me. But, like, still, now it's just like, why did you even do that? Why do that? You know, it's like, I don't know. Carolina's still going to be a good team next year.
Yeah, they're still going to be right
but they might lose Trocheck and Niederreiter. That's a lot of offense to lose. And Trocheck plays pretty well good defensively as well.
He does. He's a penalty killer.
That's a lot to lose in the offseason. Now, can you replace him? Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can. Or you could bring him back, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like if especially Trocheck, if he makes it to free agency, Penguins, are going to throw a bunch of, like, $5 million at him or something like that. And maybe Carolina, I don't know what their cap looks like, but maybe they can match that. But I don't know. I think they need better goalies. Why did you trade Nedeljkovic? He played so well for you last year.
Yeah.
Why trade him? Why? You could have kept him and signed either and also signed Freddie Anderson because he signed in Detroit for like $3 million or something, which was essentially what Raanta signed for.
Yeah.
You could have had that tandem, and Nedeljkovic, I don't know that he would have played better in the playoffs, but he might have. And he's younger.
He might not have
and
gotten
less
hurt.
Injury prone.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't know. Their goaltending, I'm glad we called something at the beginning of the year. Called that.
And it's hard just because, like, their penalty kill disappeared. Their power play.
I don't know what happened there.
Disappeared.
They just got tired. It happens too. Like, teams get tired.
I mean, look at Tampa versus Florida. Like, Tampa didn't come in like super swinging to the.
No. Tampa had a very tightly contested series against Toronto, and then at Florida.
Well,
really didn't play that well against Washington.
I'm trying to say they didn't look that strong coming into the playoffs.
No, I agree.
They turned the playoff switch on, so they know how to do that.
They're a veteran team. Obviously, they've won the last 2 Stanley Cups, so they know how to win in the playoffs.
Yeah, exactly. So,
irregardless of how that is, they win. They win. So they have all of these veterans. They have Stamkos, Kucherov, Hedman. They have Ryan McDonough too. Okay,
all the Rangers.
Yeah. Old Rangers.
All the old Rangers.
One old Ranger. Yeah. They have other old Rangers too.
Well, Carolina had like 5 old Rangers.
Oh, that's true.
Raanta, Fost, D'Angelo got booed every single time he touched the puck at MSG, which he deserves.
Also, let me reiterate, D'Angelo, you don't have a leg to stand on jawing at Gerard Gallant.
Oh my God, no.
Anyway.
But Toronto fans have to be like oh, okay, with what Tampa did to Florida, they would have been like, oh, we would have made
Toronto
it to the finals.
fans should feel better.
Oh, 100%.
About their team, because you're like, oh, all right. They swept Florida. I feel like Toronto might have also swept Florida.
I agree.
Yeah. So that's all the series?
Yep.
Let's get on to discussing the conference finals, which start tonight.
Yes.
With the Western Conference Finals, and that is Colorado and Edmonton. Clay, how you feeling about this series?
I don't know anymore. I don't know anymore about anything.
I guess I don't know either. Like, I really don't know. The playoffs are always like, you can be like, oh, yeah, this team is going to win easily. And then they lose. And
Florida.
Yeah, Florida. Or several years ago when everybody was like, oh, Tampa Bay had this amazing regular season. They're going to crush the Blue Jackets. And then they got fucking swept.
They looked good for one period.
Yeah. So, who fucking knows? I don't think Edmonton can overcome Colorado. I don't think. Even with, here's my reasoning. The only player that can probably rival McDavid and Draisaitl for their abilities is McKinnon.
Yeah.
Is McKinnon and his crew.
McKinnon or Landeskog or whatever.
If you're talking about the best players in hockey right now, it's McDavid, Draisaitl to a certain extent, McKinnon, and maybe Matthews.
Yeah.
You take
top five?
The top five is McDavid, McKinnon, Draisaitl, Matthews, and...
I don't care about number 5.
Number 5, it doesn't matter. You can say whoever. But like, Colorado, I think, is the one team, at least in the Western Conference.
Put Makar 5.
I would put Makar 5. But,
no, not at all.
He's very good, but I don't know.
He's like one of the best offensive defenses.
Maybe a Vassal left.
Oh, yeah, that's a good...
But anyway, the offensive-wise, Colorado is the only team I think could rival McDavid and Draisaitl.
Yes.
But here's the other thing, too. Colorado is objectively better team just in general than LA and Calgary. They definitely have a better defense than LA and Calgary.
Yes.
Goaltending,
who knows?
I don't trust Kemper, but who knows?
Markstrom was supposed to be really good, and then
true. And then Mike Smith was really bad against LA and really good against Calgary, so who knows?
Who knows what Mike Smith can get?
I don't think Edmonton can overcome Colorado. But I would not be surprised if they did. I'm going to say, I think this goes the distance. I think Colorado wins in 7.
Okay, all right. My thing is, like, Edmonton just spanked their biggest rivals.
They did. McDavid and Draisaitl have been playing out of their goddamn minds.
Well, not even just them two. Kane, Nugent Hopkins, Hyman have been playing phenomenally.
I think the one issue for Edmonton in this series is their defense really hasn't been playing that well. McDavid, Draisaitl have been bailing them out, and Kane and Nugent Hopkins have been bailing them out offensively.
Yep.
But if you look at the Calgary series, they lit up 2 or more goals in every one of those games.
Yes.
And if you think that they're going to hold Colorado to less than 3 goals in every game, you're out of your mind.
No.
Not with that defense. Not against McKinnon and Rantanen and Landeskog.
Watch this.
And Kadri.
So, like,
watch Edmonton sweep them after I've said all of this.
The East Series is the 2 best goalies in
the
league.
Yeah.
And watch that be a high-scoring one. And this
is supposedly the 2 best offenses.
Exactly. Yeah. And this just is a defensive slog. Because
really funny,
that's hockey.
And Kemper and Smith play out of their minds.
Exactly.
Have like 2 shutouts a series a piece or something.
That'd be amazing. It still goes
7. I would love it. Yeah, I would love it. I'd be like, oh my God, I would be like wrapped the entire time. But
this is just so hard just because Colorado got over their hump the past couple of years. They've lost early comparatively.
Well, usually in the second round. They did make it to the Western Conference Final,
but that was against
one time
Vegas.
Against Vegas, yeah. Who was
2018?
Yeah, a few years ago now.
So,
but they're older, they're stronger. They've had plenty of playoff experience.
You got Burakovsky, you got Rantanen, you got Landeskog.
I think
have the offense.
I think their depth is way better than Edmonton's too. But they gotta deal with McDavid and Draisaitl first, and then their depth after that.
Woodcroft has been doing great as a coach in Edmonton.
After you told me that who was their coach before?
Tippett. Yeah.
Was just not using the third and fourth lines at all.
Yeah.
After you pointed that out to me, and then Woodcroft was just like, oh, yeah, let's just play them more minutes.
Let's roll 4.
And then they started winning all of these games. I'm like, okay, maybe their depth isn't that bad.
No, it's not.
They were just not using it at all. But, like, I don't know. You look at Colorado, you have McKinnon, you have Landeskog, you have Rantanen, you have Kadri, you have Burakovsky, you have Makar, you have Jack Johnson. But it's just like, I don't know. I think this will be a very high scoring series. I think it'll go back and forth, and I think Colorado will take it in 7. That's just my gut feeling now.
It's hard for me to pick because McDavid has just gone supernova this past.
He really
series.
has. McDavid or Draisaitl too. Draisaitl has been a month.
I didn't know
17 points against Calgary.
I didn't know McDavid had another level. Honestly,
I don't think anybody did. And
he
everybody was like, "Oh, okay."
He started playing defense too. Like, oh my god.
Well, that's where like if you look at a comparable, you could compare McDavid to like Crosby. Mm-hmm. So like for the first 5 or so years, Crosby didn't really play defense. He was just very good offensively. He was a very good playmaker. McDavid's probably a good goal scorer than Crosby ever was, but Crosby is a better passer, and like he's got that big butt. He just controls the puck. But then at a certain point in his career, Crosby was like, "Oh, I should play defense too," and then he's just really good at defense as well. So I feel like McDavid is going to do that eventually. Well, he's starting to play defense better.
It's what Matthews did this year. He took the entire offseason basically working on defense.
That's true, and he played very good. And people are like, maybe Matthews wins the Selke this year. I don't think he does. I think he wins MVP this year. Mm-hmm. But yeah. So like, I think the best players that have ever played outside of Gretzky and Lemieux. Lemieux didn't really play defense either. But the best players now, eventually, are like, oh, I should play a 200-foot game.
Yeah.
And that way my team is always good when I'm on the ice.
Especially if you're a center.
Yeah. It's really important when you're a center.
So
props for McDavid. He's playing defense. Draisaitl out of his mind that last series. But I still think Colorado has enough to... I think Colorado has enough to beat them.
I don't disagree at all.
Okay.
I will also go Colorado in 7.
I think this is going the distance no matter what. That's what I think.
Watch us both be wrong.
Watch this be a sweep for Edmonton.
Look, if it's Edmonton in 7, I'm not mad.
No.
And
no, I'm not mad either.
Like,
I could see this going either way.
Basically,
I really could.
Our takes
Colorado,
going into this season were like, what's Edmonton going to do with it? And they've showed us what they're doing with it.
Well, look, what, a third of the way through the season, we were right about Edmonton. Well, I was right about Edmonton being like, what the fuck are you guys doing?
Yeah.
But then they fired their coach, and apparently the coach was the problem. Because they finished second in the Pacific after digging themselves a huge hole.
Yep.
And then, now they're in the Western Conference Final. So good on you, Edmonton.
And this is kind of what you want. Like, all you need is 8 more wins.
Yeah.
That's it. It's 8
You're
more.
right there.
8 more wins.
Once you get to the finals, anything can happen. I guess whoever.
Going to the finals, I think, was the goal for Edmonton, and they've made it.
I think going to the conference finals was probably
Sorry,
the goal
that's
for
what I mean.
Edmonton.
The conference
okay.
finals.
Yeah.
Going to these finals.
You're right there. I think anything can happen in this series.
All you need is 8 wins.
That's what we think in the West. What about the East?
It could go either way. Man.
I'm kind of the same.
It's going to 7. It's going to 7.
The same
just
thought.
Just put 7 for me.
I think the same thing because usually
I would say Tampa.
I don't know where my dog went.
Is she under you?
No, she was like near the door. There she is. Okay, sorry, my dog just disappeared for a second. I don't know. Like Clay said, these are the 2 best goalies playing each other in the Eastern Finals.
The past 2 series for the Rangers, I've counted them out, and I've been completely wrong.
They just at points they just look really bad.
And then they
and then they're like, oh,
really
never mind.
Good when it counts. I think Tampa.
You think
in
Tampa?
7.
Okay.
Just because of the experience that Tampa has, plus Vasilevsky.
I think if there's one goalie in these playoffs that can outduel Shesterkin, I think it's Vasilevsky.
Yeah.
Now, is he going to do that? Don't know. I mean, Tampa Bay is essentially the same team that won the last 2 years with a few depth changes.
Yep.
You know, they don't have Gaudreau anymore.
They don't have Coleman.
They don't have Coleman. But, like, Coleman was only there for 1 year, really, because before that he was on New Jersey. So, yeah, I don't know about this series. I just have...
It's because...
Because, obviously, I am a Penguins fan. I don't like the Rangers. I don't want to discount them because of that. I'm trying to be unbiased.
I hate New York.
But I just feel...
I hate Tampa, too. So, like,
I do dislike Tampa Bay as well. I really want to see a different team win the Cup. I don't want to see them win a third straight Cup. But I don't know. I just have this gut feeling that New York is going to win. I just really do. I'm going to pick New York.
I kind of do too, but
I just have this gut feeling that the same thing that happened against the Penguins, the same thing that happened against Carolina, is the same thing that's going to happen against Tampa Bay.
I mean, my gut feelings have always been wrong, so that's why I'm going against it.
Yeah. I mean, watch us be 100% wrong in this entire thing, and neither one of these go to 7 games.
But in New York's favor, Tampa takes a lot of penalties.
That's true. But they have not faced a beast
like
Vasilevsky yet, because
100%.
in the Penguin series, DeSmith, who was a backup, got knocked out in Game 1.
Yep.
And then they played Louis Domingue for the next 5 games.
Yeah.
And then they played Jarry, who has maybe a broken foot
coming
in
back
Game
from
7.
An injury. Yeah,
Jarry played fine in Game 7. He played okay in Game 7, but like maybe he has a broken foot, but he hadn't played in like almost a month.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the only time they really played a true starter, was Jarry in Game 7 against the Penguins, and then they played Ranta and Core whatever in the second round against Carolina.
Yep.
And even if they had Anderson, I don't know that Anderson would have won that series for Carolina, honestly. But
it depends on...
It doesn't matter because the Rangers won.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. So, but they're playing one of the best goalies in the league, who is healthy, in Andrei Vasilevsky.
Also has a very good power play as well.
Who is one of the other finalists for the Vezina, probably.
I think it was Markstrom.
It was Markstrom, Shesterkin, and Vasilevsky, I believe.
And it's going to go to Shesterkin.
Oh, yeah.
Because
he should win.
It's a regular season.
Yeah. Well, even in the playoffs, Shesterkin has been amazing.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I just think that the Rangers are gonna... I just think they're gonna take it, and they're gonna go to the finals. I really do.
I hate that.
And I hate that I think that. But just like watching...
watching them play.
Just watching them play, and
they're
not lucking out.
No.
I won't say that, but like... I don't know. The teams that they're playing are beating themselves, basically.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Pittsburgh is doing that. Carolina did that. You know, like...
Yeah. The amount of penalties, Carolina's penalty kill was not doing good. And
neither was Pittsburgh.
And they kept taking penalties.
Pittsburgh, to their credit, didn't take as many penalties as Carolina did against the Rangers, but
I think
the Rangers still scored.
I think
it felt like on every one.
2 games, Carolina took like 12 penalties.
Oh, let me look.
They took 7 in games.
Took 9 penalties.
They took 9?
Yeah, they took 9 penalties, which is a lot in 2 games. So, yeah. I don't know. So those are our picks. We're picking it to go the distance regardless.
Yep.
So with that in mind, I will just say we're probably not going to do an episode until the conference finals are over.
Yep.
Just because I'm actually going to be out of town next week, so I don't think they wouldn't be done by Monday anyway.
No.
So we're just gonna wait till the conference finals are over and the Stanley Cup is set up, so that we can talk about everything. Yeah. So we can talk about everything. But we will see you in probably maybe a week and a half to 2 weeks. It gives us a little break too, because both of us have been very busy in life and at work as well. But you can catch us after the conference finals are over.
Yeah.
At the same puck time.
Same puck place.
Follow us on a bunch of things.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.